Alright Scorpio, thanks for tuning in to your August 2014 horoscope. My name is Athen, and let's start this reading off by talking about your ruler Mars this month. Mars is in your 12th house for the entire month. So the 12th house, what does this have to do with? It has to do with transcendence. It has to do with going beyond the mere appearance of our reality. It's the house of spirituality. It's the end of the zodiac sign. So taking time out this month, not necessarily, taking the whole month off, but taking time to connect to your spiritual nature, your divine nature, being present, okay? So for those of you who do get a chance to take some time out, by all means, spend some time out in nature, meditating, anything that puts you in a state of presence and peace, okay? That would be great. This will open up your intentions. We're talking about Mars and your ruler, so any intentions that you manifest this month will be, will you open that up? You see, if we're kind of rigid in our, resistant to the type of stage growth level that we're at, and for you it's the end of that cycle, it's that 12th house, then we kind of block ourselves from manifesting. So to open up the potential for manifestation, it's through that divine guidance, it's through that presence, that divine awareness. Okay, and if you do get the time to take the time out, by all means. And for those of you who are busy this month, being present in what you do. We don't necessarily have to take the time out. We can just be present in all that we do throughout the day and the day-to-day activities, okay? And connecting to that divine essence. So anything that you do that helps you connect to this doesn't necessarily have to be spiritual, doesn't necessarily have to be meditation. For some, it's hiking. For some, it's cooking. For some, it's cleaning. For some, it's whatever. So going with the flow, tapping into that divine guidance, transcending the veils of reality. Also, paying attention to your dreams and your intuition will be key for you this month as well. So that's the theme for you this month, and let's talk about now the big picture, starting with Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, Jupiter and Saturn are the slower of the personal planets, and they have to do with the creation of our reality, the big picture. Jupiter and Saturn both are like the creation of the sacred geometry of the universe. Jupiter is the expansion. It's the light that's expanding out. And then Saturn is the definitions, the barriers that create the shape of the geometry. So this is how our reality is created. So if we follow the principles of Jupiter and Saturn, we are able to manifest our reality using those principles. And in astrology, the certain growth stage that we are in our lives. So for you, Jupiter is in your 9th and Saturn is in your 12th. Mars is joining up with Saturn this month, okay? And this has been the long-term theme for you, okay? But the big picture is that there is this potential, these opportunities in regards to your higher awareness, okay? For some, this might mean philosophy, it might mean higher studies, but generally it's just anything that helps you see life from a higher perspective. Okay, you've had an abundance, you still have an abundance of this potential for this. A lot of opportunities for you to expand yourself, expand your mind, expand your environment, okay? So you want to use that. You want to use that energy to expand you and open you up and create those opportunities in your life by doing that. So be open to that. And then at the same time, of course, if we just do that, then there's no creation. So the manifestation, the shape of the geometry takes place when we add in Saturn. So for you, Saturn is in that 12th house. And the 12th house, again, has to do with that transcendence and spirituality and intuition. So you've been developing that spiritual side of yourself, okay? And there's been a sense of discipline, okay, and maturity going on there. And it can feel at times like a limitation or a sort of lack in that area or resistance in that area, but that's okay because this is all part of Saturn. Saturn is teaching you maturity and to be grounded, okay? So this sort of groundedness that you're doing in your spirituality, this realism that you're adding to the spiritual side of things, join that up with this higher wisdom and higher guidance, okay? And this expansion in your life. So for example, you know, by tapping into that potential for expanding your environment, perhaps it's through travel, perhaps it's through higher studies, add in the element of that discipline using the spirituality, okay? The spiritual discipline to that. And in that way, you will be able to really manifest powerfully for the big picture of time, and particularly this month when we're talking about that 12th house with Mars. So really pay attention to that 12th house this month and put energy into it. If you put energy into that, into the creation elements, then that's the greatest use of this energy. So let's talk about now the smaller picture. And the smaller picture has to do with Venus and Mars. Okay? So like we said, Mars, putting that energy into spiritual side of things, the transcendence. Perhaps it's writing a dream journal. Perhaps it's doing the meditation or the yoga or the spiritual retreats or whatever it is. That's the masculine energy of Mars putting into that. So let's talk about what will help you create more potential with that. And what we mean is, let's look at Venus. Venus is in your 8th house up until the 7th, and then Venus will be going into your 9th. But up until the 7th, Venus is in your 8th. So enjoy the growth process. The 8th house is about transformation. It's about spiritual growth. It's been a very spiritual time for you, and this month is no exception. In fact, this month you might call the highlight of that. Okay? So the 8th house is about letting go of attachments and releasing and going with the flow. All right? Not allowing your ego to attach to anything too strongly or unhealthfully, I should say. Okay? And Venus is there, okay? So there is a lot of potential there for you to do that if you tap into that energy. There's a potential for you to let go of all those things that aren't serving you, for you to then transcend into your higher path, okay? Your more spiritual path. So continue to bring in that those opportunities and that enjoyment of that growth, particularly up until the 12th. Then from the 12th onward, Venus will then go into your 9th, okay? So at this point, really tap into that expansion. Venus will be joining up with Jupiter. There's a lot of concentrated energy this month, and the concentration is again with your 9th and your 12th house. Okay, Venus joining up with Jupiter, Mars joining up with Saturn. So from the 7th onward, enjoy that expansion. See the opportunities in there. Mingle. Get together with people. Tap into your values. What do you value in regards to all of this higher information, higher wisdom, higher guidance? What do you enjoy about all that? Me personally, I love traveling. You know, I also love philosophy, and astrology is 9th house activity too. I enjoy all of this. So those are some examples. Tap into what you enjoy through that, and you're going to have the positive energy to then channel that into the more spiritual stuff where Mars is. Okay, so it's using both Venus and Mars again to manifest. All right. Now let's talk about the Moon and the Sun. Another polarity here. This polarity has to do with your awareness. The Moon has to do with your feelings, and the Sun has to do with your consciousness. So the Sun will be in the 9th house, okay, for the first half of the month. And this is again in that area of expansion. So for the first half, be aware of this, all right? Be aware of the expansion that's happening, okay? And again, with the Sun, there is always that, there's a self-identity going on. So view the first half of this month, view how you are going through this expansion, and again, what you enjoy in this and who you are. What part of you enjoys the expansion and is expansive? In other words, what kind of philosophy do you like? What do you enjoy that expands your mind, okay, and expands your environment? Pay attention to that up until, well, for the first half of the month, okay, up until the 16th. Then, well, actually, before that, we're going to have a full moon on the 10th. Okay, so on the 10th, the moon will be opposite that 9th house sun in your 3rd house. Okay, so around the 10th with this full moon has to do with a time of full awareness. So with the 3rd house, it has to do with it's the more day-to-day aspects of the wisdom. It's the writing, the learning, the teaching. Okay, so the 10th, around the 10th with this full moon, allow all of this higher guidance that is coming to you, it has been coming to you, and channel it. Channel it into writing, channel it into teaching, channel it into learning. Okay, all of this is going to help you become more insightful about this entire process, help you have more awareness. And it's through that awareness you're going to learn a lot. Okay, I think you're going to learn a lot this month. These are the 2 knowledge wisdom houses with a full moon, or at least you have the potential for it. But in either case, listen to that higher guidance, listen to that insight around the 10th. Okay, and that's going to help illuminate more about yourself, help you understand more about yourself, which is again going to help you aim your intentions with your manifestation, because it's not without understanding what we want to manifest. Without setting that intention, do we manifest anything? So a huge part of it, and the first part of it, is understanding what you want, what you value. And I think around the 10th, you certainly have a huge potential for this. Okay? Or perhaps it's just a time when you're going to get some information that you didn't have before that's going to illuminate things for you in that area. Okay? And be open around the 10th to, I know, like I was saying, it's a spiritual time and perhaps you do want to take some alone time, but around the 10th, if you can, get out there, because the 3rd house has to do with opportunities amongst people and exchange and trading. So through that might come these insights and stuff. So around the 10th, do put yourself out there, or maybe learn something, get into a book, and really start writing stuff like that. Write your intentions down would be a great thing to do around the 10th too. All right, so let's talk about on the 25th. Now the sun at this point, after the 16th onward, will be shifting into your 10th house. And on the 25th, we have a new moon in that 10th house of yours. So the 10th house has to do with your service work. Okay? It's from the 9th to the 10th, it's about taking what we've been channeled down, what we've been given from the divine, and channeling that into work, into service, into helping others through our service, through our work. So there's a transition here happening, and it's from that 9th to that 10th house, okay? So I think around the 25th, whatever you're learning, whatever you're channeling right now in regards to all of this, I think it's gonna open you up and create something new in regards to your service, what you can provide the world. Okay? So tap into that. Around the 25th, really listen. Again, these are the full moon, new moons, is the time for really listening. In particular, on the 25th, it's about listening to your feelings more than anything. Okay? But just listen, and I think through that, you're going to have a greater awareness of your role in the bigger picture. Okay? 10th house is like your role in society, okay, and what you can contribute back. All right, Scorpio, so that concludes your August horoscope. If you have any questions, please let me know. I am still offering 50% off my readings, so if you are interested in a detailed look at your personal chart, please get in touch. I'll put a link down in the About section. And have a great month. I'll talk to you next month. All right, Scorpio.